All right, we are sending them. This is our first driver, Raz Naor, in this Mitsubishi Evo. Raz from Granada Hills, California, coming to the big sweeper. There's that outside zone, throws it in. Midline course. Now we need to tighten up there, about the third hash mark there for Raz, excuse me. Outside zone. Very fluid past this, that front clip, about the second hash mark, getting an outside zone for Raz and crossing the finish line. Ryan, your overview of this run. Again, that's our first official judged run here for both Pro and Pro 2.
Yeah, and one of the things that you'll notice if you are a fan of the series and watched last year, that there is no outside zone after initiation. There's just a latest initiation point, and what the judges want you to draw is a nice smooth line to that first inside clip. You can see Raz is a little bit long there. This is an outside zone here, and that's a touch and go on the other side. Here is the inside clip that everybody's familiar with, and then the final outside zone into that last inside clip. So we know that first corner is going to be really important in head-to-head competition.
And there's Raz Naor's score, a score of 70. That's a 7-0 for Raz in the very unique Mitsubishi Evo. All right, here we go. George K. thrown into the big sweeper. Like Ryan said, no outside zone compared to previous years. Tries to, whoa, a wide swing around into the first outer zone. Gets into the box. There's that touch and go. And oh, and a big hit by George K. hard into the tire wall. That is a hard hit there for George K. and that Link ECU 370Z. Let's take a look at this again here, Ryan.
Yeah, you can see he gets a pretty good start here. Nice initiation there, back on throttle pretty early. He's going to be way wide on this first inside clip, and you can see it caused him to shallow up a little bit there and get a tiny bit offline. Hits that third hash mark on that inside clip, but there as he transitioned a little bit late, and it looks like that caused him to be offline there as he goes into the wall. Luckily, the tire wall this year is actually off the track at least about 3 more feet, so it gives a little bit of room there for guys to play with the edge of the course. But George went a little bit too hard there and into the tire wall, and unfortunately have an incomplete for run number 1.
Denton from Canby, Oregon, and coming in hot. Here we go. Flicks it in. Good straight line approach. Let's see if he can get tight, and he gets really tight. Well executed there. Nice, good work. Really fluid all the way through. Tight to that final front clip. a little bit leery there. Oh, a solid run, but then goes off course, Ryan. I gotta say that was good up until that last outside zone, and then approaching the finish line.
Yeah, he was putting together a pretty decent and would have definitely been a scored run. That would have been something he could have built on. If you watch here, he gets a little bit of a late initiation. The last standing cone there draws a pretty decent line into that first inside clip. He's tight right on that inside hash mark. Coming through here, good throttle control, getting out to that outside zone. And then the touch and go there. Great job on that that second to last inside clip. And then right here, he's not able to carry momentum out to that outside zone. And then as he comes up short and tight on the inside part here, he has to actually straighten the vehicle out. And it does look like, from what we've seen in the past, that will be an incomplete. So unfortunately, he was able to have a pretty decent run up until that point. But right here, the transition started leading him off course. And he made an adjustment there that was just a bit too costly.
All right, Ryan, we are finding out from the judges. They are saying it is an incomplete run. Rob Carlson, good old Rob from Eden, Utah. Looks like he fell off a little bit there. And man, these guys, Texas is not being nice to these Pro 2 drivers right now. Whoa, buddy, wide swing and approaches that first front. Shuts her down, and looks like Carlson, that'll be Rob Carlson's first run, and that will be an incomplete as well. Get some good advice. Quite a few drivers are spotters for their Pro 2 competitors. Here we go. Great looking car. I'm always a sucker for camo, so I can't even see it. All I see is wheels, a couple stickers. I'm just kidding. All right, so here comes Sean. Nice job. Tight, about the third hash mark. Ripping clipping through the power alley. Nice job. The touch and go inside clip now to that outside zone. Gets all the way out there. Flirts with those tires. Oh, and then what the heck? These guys are having a tough go here at Texas, Ryan.
Yeah, another one bites the dust. And for Sean, that was a pretty decent start. You'll see he's going to initiate right here at the second standing cone. He's going to get back on throttle relatively early. He's going to get off throttle here, trying to make some adjustments, so a little bit tentative. But as he comes through the power alley, he's really going to get on the throttle, get out to that outside zone, get out to the touch and go pretty well, hit that inside clip. And now as he transitions into this outside zone, looks like smooth sailing from here, but you can hear the car was banging there for a second, making some noise, and then he pulls off the course and gives himself an incomplete.
Oh no. Finding out from his spotter, as I was saying, Michael Essa, he said his clutch pedal stuck. So you kind of need that. All right, here we go. Pretty Ricky Adams. All right, so Ricky Adams comes in. Very fluid, but way outside and way long. To the outside zone, into the touch and go, hit it and quit it. Now dials it in about that second hash mark. Let's see if we can get a drive. We're doing a full pull here. And we do. Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
Walking right up to the line there.
He kind of flirted with a bit of straightening there. He lost a lot of angle there going to that finish line.
Well, he just initiated the last standing cone. You can see he gets back on the throttle, put some angle in the car, but he's going to way overshoot this first inside clip. So he was actually running an outside zone there. Gets into the second out, or the first outside zone a little bit late. Now right here, this is where the troubles start to manifest. He comes out of that last outside zone right here. He starts pulling angle out, but he keeps I think he keeps enough angle in those front two wheels.
And Ricky Adams with a 58, so. All right, here we go, Troy Manners. Squirt throwing it in. What do you got, Squirt? Hear the thing firing off, coming into that first front clip, about the 2.5. Hashtag touch and go, hit it and quit it, gets out there, now brings it in. Nice onto that first hash mark, gets all of the outside zone. Might have a new leader here, Ryan. I mean, the best score right now is a 70, and that's only 2 scores, 1 of 2. So Troy Manners will definitely get a good score.
Not too bad, Troy. He gets initiation right between the second and first standing cone. He's back on throttle about halfway through. He's able to get that third hash mark on that inside clip, pushing out to that first outside zone, now coming through the touch and go area. Looking pretty fluid here, much better on that second inside clip. Gets into that outside zone a little bit early, leaves it a little bit early, but just a little bit of nitpicking there as he wraps around that final turn and is able to put a score on the board, and it was a pretty good run overall, so nice job there by Troy Manners.
All right, well done from the Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania resident for Manners with a 79. So 79, look at that dude. Looks retro NASCAR there. Avid CrossFitter. He's got a CrossFit sponsorship even on his car. Adam Knapik from Westminster, California, coming all the way out here. But actually from the East Coast as well. Adam, about the second hash mark on that first front clip. A lot of the guys getting that outside zone right there. That's a touch and go, but that is a front clip that he really gets tied to. Slide it in. You can hear him lift a little bit approaching that outside zone, but then stands back on it across the finish line. Good run there for Adam Knapik.
Let's take a look at this again here, see where he initiates. At the 3, 2, 1 standing cones there. Lets it float out a ways before he gets back on the throttle. So you don't see the smoke line until before that first inside clip. Hits that first outside zone, now transitioning. You can see a little bit of shakiness in the front wheels. Right here, playing a real conservative, minimal angle through that outside zone.
So 73, he is right on that cusp.
Yep.
So Adam with a 73 on his first run. Geoff Jeff Donati. Jeff. All right, let's see what Donati, he likes to potty. Don't cause no trouble, and he hurts the track right now. About the second hash mark. Really gets all the outside zone there. loud and proud into this outside zone. Dipping that back bumper in. Well executed there by Donati, and brings it across the finish line past that third hash mark.
Yeah, pretty good run there overall from Jeff, Geoff, not the Jeff kind. Gets on the throttle pretty early, and you can really hear him pouring it on. He goes a little bit wide there. He's going to leave a few line points on the table, but you can see aggressive through the middle section there. Gets to that outside zone, hits the touch and go. Tight on that second inside clip. Good transition back around. Has decent angle through that final outside zone, and then just right there on that third hash mark. But really like the throttle control. He was aggressive, pretty fast through the course, and looks solid right there on that second inside clip, setting himself up for a nice line there, dragging that rear bumper over the rumble strips and that.
All right, Ryan, we are hearing an 80 there for Jeff Donati. So it's an 8-0, an 80. Next up is Garrett Denton. Garrett Denton. All right, here we go. Denton slammed down. Look at the stance on that car. Fires it off. Suck, bang, boom. Wraps it around that first front clip. Very fluid here. Exploding that touch and go into that final outside zone. Wow, getting really deep into that rumble strip and really tight to that final front clip. Well executed there by Garrett Denton.
Good run by Garrett Denton coming through the chicane there. You'll see he initiates right at that second standing cone. He gets back on the throttle pretty early compared to some of the other drivers. He's feathering it through that section of the course, but he's tight on that inside clip, which we haven't seen a lot of. Gets out to that outside zone, now getting out to the touch and go. A little bit deep there, but just tapping it. Comes into that the second inside clip a little bit late, but really deep there in that final outside zone, and good throttle smoke line through that last inside clip.
And there's Garrett's score, an 84. 84 for Garrett Denton. Any Mesker fans out there, man? Here we go. All right, Mesker leaving the start line. Woo, nasty little flick there. Look at the flick of the wrist. Swings it wide though, does not get tight to where he should be. Not very deep, very aggressive and fast, but might overcook it here. No, he does not. So Ryan, very fluid, very fast, but he's not putting the car in the right places.
Let's take a look at Mesker's run here again, Jared. You can see that faint initiation there, right into it, but a lot of guys struggling with this first inside clip, going way wide there. You can see I pull a little bit of angle out of the car and pushing too hard in certain areas of the course, like right there on that second inside clip, because he's not able to get out to that outside zone. So definitely leaving some line points on the table overall, but he will get that scored run. Here's that initiation, just right there at that last standing cone. And we'll see where that puts Mesker, whether he's going to be inside or outside the top 16 after run number 1.
A 67 for Mesker.
67 for Mesker.
All right, second car. Oh, Copper's fine.
All right, here we go. Jonathan Hurst, the Dynasty G37. You can see the attitude of the car, kind of lunging forward. See some wavering there. Into that outside zone, into the touch and go. Whoa, buddy! Little rally cross. Flicks it in as Mr. Hurst. Oh man, he needs to go more rally car than drift cars. Also, typo on it says Dynasty. Spelled Dynasty wrong. I'm just kidding.
Nice play on words they have there.
Dynasty. All right, so Ryan Latain, that's going to be incomplete, huh?
I believe that will be an incomplete. He wasn't doing too bad at the initiation point here. Got the car to angle. This has always been a tricky part for drivers to come around this first corner and get that inside flip. And then after that, he managed to drop a tire and went, I think, 2 wheels off there at the touch and go area. Unfortunately, once he came around here, it was very, very early on outside zone 2, and it caused him to not have enough momentum to get around the last corner to inside clip 3. So he straightened up and went 4 wheels off, and that will be an incomplete for him.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh.
This track, you need to be very wide everywhere to make it through properly. The problem is if you just make that slight mistake, you're going to be dropping a tire, and it's going to drag you off and cause your line to suffer throughout the rest of the course.
I'll
take what I can get.
If you can't drive, teach, or instruct.
Yeah, here I am, judging.
All right, here we go. Kelsey Rawlings, the only female in competition.
That was a big understeer there.
Yeah, massive understeer from her. This 14 powered S14. Romping its way through. Look at the attitude of the car. Getting real floaty there, gains a lot of grip, and shortens her up there for that outside zone. Lontaine.
This is we're gonna have to take a look closer at this to see how straight she really was. On first view from way over here, it looked like it was a pretty big understeer, but I want to see the replay. Yeah, the wheels are turned the other way there for a minute. So I'll have to confer with my other friends over here, but the rest of the run didn't do too bad through the rest of the track. She was off a little bit on a couple of clips. This outside zone here was missed for the most part. She just kind of got into the latter, maybe third of it, and then ended up pretty close to inside clip number 3 before the finish line, or at the finish line, I should say. So if you watch the front wheels here, she should be at angle right now, but she's actually turning towards the right.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty significant area there where she was understeering for. So we'll have to see what the other judges feel about it.
Unfortunate there for Kelsey Rawlings. Denton leading the pack. Donati there in second. Manners, Knapik, and Raznior. Love this car. Definitely always have a soft spot for E36 drift cars. Kenrick Meyer, about the 3rd hash mark. Lining it up. Well done there by Meyer. Into that last outside zone, Mr. Meyer. Past the finish line and that final front clip. All right, so Kenrick Meyer.
Unfortunately, his commitment score is going to suffer a little bit here. So he did get the car to angle all right. He was on throttle. He got just, between the 2nd and 3rd hash mark there on inside clip 1. The big problem here is the huge handbrake pull at the touch and go right there. You can't see it in the replay, but the car stalled up pretty significantly, and he had a large handbrake pull. So in terms of commitment, that's an area where you're supposed to be on throttle, where you're really going to be carrying your speed through inside clip 2 to outside zone 2. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that through there. So the commitment side of things and the fluidity as well, as he had a couple of bottles. But in terms of line, it wasn't a terrible run for line. He had a couple of good inside clips that he got close to.
Kenrick Meyer with a 69. That's a 69 for Kenrick Meyer. Well executed for him. All right, Houman Rahimi. Houman Rahimi here. Mass Motorsports. Nissan 350Z comes in wild, guns a-blazing. Using all the course and spinning out. Man, these guys just cannot catch a break. I was talking, you call this the announcer's curse. Both Ryan Sage and I were talking about how well these Pro 2 drivers are doing, and then something like this happens.
I don't know. It's
What's in the box?
It's a big mystery. I'm really curious what is in that box.
I think it's the whole country of Australia. Put everybody's in there.
Bring them to America.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Josh Robinson in that big Holden Ute, the Commodore. Powering through the power alley, really living up to its name on Nexen tires. Exploding that touch and go, tight to that front clip. See if we can get that big, long truck bed here into the outside zone and brings it around the finish line here for Robinson. When a box says this side up, do they adhere to that down under?
It's technically upside down. So Josh on initiation did well, but he was really slow getting back on throttle after he initiated. He was, I think, trying to get the car to slow down enough to get to inside clip 1, which he was successful with, but on the commitment side of things, he really lifted off quite a bit there, off that inside clip. And right here, after outside zone 2 going to inside clip 3, there was a big correction on angle. So a couple of little errors there. The car didn't really look fully settled. He may have dropped a tire here as well. into the dirt. So it looked like he was struggling with the car a little bit, trying to get it in the right position on the track. His score may show a little bit of that.
Is he running like caster? Look at that back right wheel. There's Robinson with a 69, dude.
What we have here?
Go ahead and announce it in French. Sébastien Gauthier.
Sébastien Gauthier with l'initiation. His car's bright, you can't miss it.
Yeah, retina burning orange as Gauthier comes into naked eye view. I mean, I guess the judge can see the whole track here. It's a great opportunity, but utilizing that instant replay, and Gauthier really deep in an outside zone, flying through the course as Gauthier about the 3rd hash mark around that final clip.
That transition he did just before outside zone 2 looked great. That was his rate to angle was pretty great. So let's watch outside zone 1. Not a whole lot of angle, from initiation to inside clip 1. He was off that clip a little bit. Pretty good here through the power alley. And as you see him come by inside clip 2, off that a little bit, but that transition was really, really good. It may have gone slightly to too much angle, and it slowed him down a little bit. And he filled outside zone 2, but didn't really have the momentum to get him all the way around to the finish line without making a slight correction. But that transition right there, that was a really nice rotation, and he managed to maintain that angle for the most part, but as soon as he got here, he realized he was a little bit tight, so he had to correct somewhat.
And there's Gauthier with a 73 for Sébastien Gauthier. Replenishing the stock of crab. Here we go. Brodie Goble, always a fun driver to watch. One of the coolest looking cars as well. I just like Brodie Goble's got styles for, not miles, but miles of styles. We'll see him in a little bit. Goble, yes sir. Hammering down. Really putting the foot to the floor. Fluid, that lift there. Quickly, but back on it. And it takes out the finish line. But Ryan, overall, just seemed very fluid.
Very committed run. You can see how much he was on throttle all the way through the track. The car looks very settled as well. So you can see his angle here. He's maintaining the same angle all the way around that long sweeping corner through to outside zone 1. By the touch and go, good amount of angle there. The car flows really well from angle to angle. There aren't a lot of corrections. He had one little mistake here where he kind of went off the track with one tire, hit that inside clip marker, but overall very committed and settled run, which is really what we're looking for. I'd like to see more runs like this for sure.
All right, so Goble, 91, well done, Brodie Goble. So Goble with a 91 on his.
Alec Robbins up next.
All right, thank you, sir. Alec Robbins, yes, sir, from Minnesota. Throws it in. Also a CoroWorks Nissan Z. Into the touch and go. Ryan, you asked for it. You talked about fluidity of Brodie Goble's run and really just foot to the floor style of driving, and Alec Robbins really doing exactly kind of what you had hoped.
Yeah, he was on throttle a lot in that run, which is what we want to see. He was pretty aggressive. The car wasn't quite as settled as Brodie's, though. A couple of areas where he had some slight bobbles. Right here, he's doing pretty well through inside clip 1. He lost a little bit of angle just before outside zone 1. He had a bobble right there, so he threw the car to angle and he had to take a little bit out, hit that inside clip, and then it caused him to choke up a little bit before outside zone 2, which didn't allow him to get all the way around the final corner towards the finish line and inside clip 3. So you can see there that little correction. He really hit that with the middle of the front bumper, so it wasn't just a slight tap. He was off quite a bit there, but managed to get across the finish line at angle and pretty close to that last inside clip.
And Robbins still a solid 74. 74. He's definitely got a big heart. His heart is all in it. So here we go. Here we go. Crick from Vallejo, California. Initiates. Good rate to angle, massive angle there. You can see him counter. And really no correction from him. Wow. Well executed by Crick. Drops that back bumper, and that's nicking it with your front left corner. But it seems that he gains a lot of grip. Unfortunately, doesn't make it all the way to outside zone. But Crick really just again another very fast driver.
Yeah, he's taking that aggressive paint job and really throwing it down with it on the track. So you can see he gets the angle pretty well. Like you said, maintained a great amount of angle through that first corner to inside clip 1, all the way through to outside zone 1. On his transition, kind of had a controlled transition there. He really didn't let the car rotate super aggressively, and he lifted maybe a little bit too early and a little bit too long coming to outside zone 2, and it caused him to miss it. He, like you said, gripped up too much, and the car wasn't able to float all the way out. He kept it on the track all the way through the touch and go area, but it was right in this area. He lifted a little bit too aggressively, didn't have the momentum to fill outside zone 2, and then went quite a bit inside before inside clip 3 in the finish line.
And there's Crick with a 74. A 74.
Even though we're giving our individual
Well,
scores.
it's all fixed, right?
Oh boy, here we go again. Sticking to the script.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Input X-Files soundtrack. Here we go. This is Riley Sexsmith, 2JZ, Toyota 86, NV Auto. Past the first front clip, about the 2.5 hash mark. Outside zone. Really whiz-banging his way through that power rally, but foregoes that front clip, inside clip, but dials it in on the outside zone, and then crosses the finish line as Riley Sexsmith, another Canadian, another fellow Canadian there for you, Ryan.
Yeah, Riley today, even in practice, I haven't seen a performance from Riley today that I'm accustomed to seeing from him. He's driving very aggressively. He's just not as precise as I've seen him in the past. You can see there he's off inside clip 1. He drops the tire on outside zone, or sorry, touch and go area, which causes him to miss the inside clip number 2. He does pretty well on outside zone 2 though. He gets all the way out there, fills it fully, and pretty tight on 3. So a couple of little errors throughout the course, a couple of things. He had a bit of a lift there just before inside clip 1. I guess he was trying to get the car to grip up a little bit so we get inside to that inside clip, but still went a little bit wide on it.
79. So Sexsmith, look at that regal beard. We were talking about that. I was talking about that in England at Drift Shifters, the other announcer. How many French figures of speech we actually utilize? Oh. I mean, is that passé?
Yeah.
Here we go, Andy Haley, and what I like to call one of the prettiest cars out here. So out of the gate, Andy, you saw him try to correct and wrap around that first front clip. Interesting. Oh, yeah. I was actually right when he locked up his back wheel. Kind of saw some wheel hop there from that back left. Don't know if suspension or if I just kind of imagined it, but unfortunately for Andy Haley, that's going to be an incomplete. Ula Jaeger and the Team Japan Auto Nexon Tire Toyota Supra. Here we go. What's that?
That's how they say it over there. Supra.
All right, here we go. Ula Jaeger, who's currently 3rd in the standings. He had a victory earlier this year as Ooh La La comes through that power rally. Very smooth from Jaeger. Tight to that final front clip and then brings it in, or second, I should say. And around the finish line. So
pretty good looking run here, Jared. Good initiation. The angle he was carrying throughout, or the first corner to inside clip 1, really smooth. Filled outside zone 2, inside zone 1 really well. The only thing I saw was his rotation was a little bit slow going to outside zone 2.
Real in the feel. Real. All right, so Jaeger. What was that score there?
That was 83.
83, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Steady car.
Literal had the incomplete run, so right now, currently 2nd in points, the dozer, Dylan Hughes. DU, NOS energy drink, Advanced Auto Parts, S13. Ooh, just barely shaking the boots. Listen to that exhaust note, just absolutely just humming. In this outside zone, puts the car in the right places. Man, Dylan Hughes just put on a clinic, well executed by Dylan Hughes.
That was a really great run. If you look at what he did for that first corner to inside clip 1, that has to be one of the best lines we've seen yet. Look how tight he is on that inside clip. Just tapped it.
Yep.
That was really, really well done. Outside zone 1, nice and wide. Did pretty well on the touch and go. Right on that on the 1 mark, basically on the inside clip 2. deep in outside zone 2, really tight on inside clip 3. Like you say, put on a clinic here. This is a very clean run. He was aggressive on throttle, wasn't lifting where he wasn't supposed to. Look at that, the precision.
Smooch.
Just tapped it, it didn't fall over. That's how we really want them to be getting around these inside clips and outside zones.
So 93 there for Dylan Hughes, our new leader. So well done.
Set it, car.
Travis Reeder here, leaving the start line, our current points leader. And here comes Reeder. Good fluidity from him. You can see him, the car very settled, quickly, boom. Gets to that angle, powers through, transition to that power alley. You can see him working the wheel a little bit, punts that front. I'll have to take a look at the replay. At what point did he punt it? Was it centered like we were talking about earlier with Haley, or Robin, excuse me, or did he just nick it? But quickly gets settled right out of the gate on that big sweeper approaching that first front clip.
Pretty good job through the first corner to inside clip 1. You can see he got close to inside clip 1 as well. Not as close as Dylan Hughes did, but still pretty good. Nice and wide to outside zone 2, or sorry, outside zone 1. Kind of missed the touch and go, which caused him to be really far inside for inside clip 2. Outside zone 2, really well there, and finished off pretty strong. Now, the one thing that I really liked from his practice lap, so that his commitment was really high through this area. He was looking, I believe, the best out of all the drivers from inside clip 2 to outside zone 2. But this time,
still gets an 86, a solid score for Travis Reeder, an 86. Yeah, no, I know. I spent last weekend with Chelsea Denofa and Von Gittin Jr. In Charlotte, but basically Chelsea was saying that he's doing some clinics with him. He's doing some driving. So anyways, we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, here comes Raz Naor, the Mitsubishi Evo. Not the all-wheel drive kind, though. He rips it into the front clip, but does not get very close. You see the red wheels standing out. You saw a quick little correction right there as well, as I was talking. Into that power alley. Flicks it into the tire wall. Still a little timid of that wall, as Raz Naor, he did have a 70 on his first run.
Looking at his initiation, he got to angle. He went really wide on his line here and had to slow down. He had a big decel area there, which really doesn't fit into that area. He was off of outside zone 1, did okay on the touch and go, but his car never really looked settled throughout the run. You can see there's going to be a correction here as well, as his line was a little too tight. He didn't have the momentum to get himself around that corner.
All right, Raz Naor with a 68 on his second run, and 70 proves to be the better of the two. I mean, it needed you know, it's a 4-year-old drift car.
So even for Pro 2, the level is higher than Pro was 4 years ago.
Totally. All right, well, great to see Stefan out here. Thrown in, and that's going to be a correction, and throws it into the dirt. And Stefan Sajic, unfortunately, spins out, and that will be the end of his weekend, unfortunately for him, and this power stop, Zima Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. Let's see if we can reverse that announcers or judges curse here, Ryan, as Martinez approaches, and Ryan quickly, you can see, gets to that angle, about the second hash mark. Good execution. That's a big straightening there. Man, really lack of angle, if at all, through that power. I want to look at that again there, Montaigne, as brings it across the finish line. So well done from the is he the only no? Yeah, the only Texan actually competing out here in Pro 2.
So it looked good. The car sounded strong running up to initiation. It sounded a lot better than his first run. He got to angle, kind of slowed down a little bit there. Didn't have a lot of angle, but then poured it on near the end and passed inside clip 1. But like you said here, on his transition, big lack of angle. The car kind of came to a rest at kind of at that 0 angle position, and then he had to reinitiate. So have to confer with the other 2 guys over here as to what they feel about that run.
And there's Rodolfo's score, a 65. A 65 that puts him outside looking in. That's 18th position. So unfortunately for Rodolfo Martinez. All right, here we go. George K. Let's see if he got it, bud. Most definitely an incomplete run on his first run. But now he's throwing that 370Z into the sweeper. Really wide and far off of that front clip. outside zone and out to the touch and go. You can hear him slamming it in, exploding that front fender. It looks like a hand. Yes, you can speak, George. Oh man. Well, he comes out not as much damage as his first run, but unfortunately, insult to injury, does not get a final run there or a complete run to acquire a score. So unfortunately for him, George K, that will be an incomplete. Have you ever seen that? Basically, like somebody just maybe have a disastrous first run and then qualifying the second just gets gangster?
That used to happen to me.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know
All right, here we go. Dalton Gernhardt.
Oof, that's wide.
Ooh, buddy. Let's see if we can tighten it back up. You can see a lot of corrections there. This blacked out S15. Now coming in to that tire wall. Now Gernhardt has an incomplete on his first run. He had an incomplete on his first run. Looks like he will get a score here. But what it is, we're about to find out.
His initiation looked a tad bit late maybe. The car goes very wide and ends up going to very close to zero angle, if not at zero angle for a little bit of time there. Gets the car back to angle, misses the touch and go and outside zone 1 for that matter. Coming to outside zone 2, dipped the tire just inside the box and manages to get over the finish line. But we're gonna have to look over here and see what we feel about the straightening before inside clip 1.
All right, so waiting for the score here for Dalton.
So it's a combination of things that's going to lead to an incomplete for him here.
Wow.
It's the fact that he went way offline, was slowing down significantly in an area that is not a decel area, and also straightened up quite a bit. So the 3 of those together means that we really can't give that a score. We tend to look at a run and say, is that chaseable? Will the car behind him be able to chase that run?
Send it, Carlson.
All right, Carlson gets a thumbs up. Kind of sounded similar to how it did on his first run. I know he went to initiate and basically shut her down, but right now Carlson, Lantain, that's another wide swing there. Oh, buddy, opposite. Oh man, that's going to be opposite drift, Tom.
Yeah,
Oh,
it sounds
wow.
like he's having the same issues with the car. You know,
That's that less stress thing.
yeah, no stress up there at all. Just all of us laughing and making fun of each other, but that's the good kind of stress.
Right, no. Yeah, that's having fun.
Yeah.
Was it on Saturday? Was Saturday for the boys? Here we go, Sean Adriano. This Boost Brigade, again, great looking car. Just debuted it at St. Louis. So happy to see him competing. Works on S's team. And now into that second to last clip and into the outer zone. Gets all the way out there. Dancing with that rumble strip and brings around, just barely nudges that final clip. So gaining some applause, Sean Adriano.
So the problem with the car on the first run was that the clutch pedal stuck to the floor, so he wasn't able to really modulate that or change gears or do anything basically. And this run looking much cleaner. Got wide out to outside zone 1. Touch and go was a little bit off. Missed that inside clip, but this does come out nice and deep into the outside zone area there near the wall, outside zone 2, and then really tight on inside clip 3 at the finish line. So overall, a pretty good run. No real mistakes or anything to speak of. You know, the car stayed at angle throughout. He didn't slow down in an area where he shouldn't. Really tight on inside clip 1 and 3, and nice and deep in outside zone 2. So pretty good job from Sean.
Clutch pedal go to the floor. Now he's got an 84. 4 on the flow, 84. Puts him into 4th position. All right, Ricky, pretty Ricky, and a pretty ride. Here we go, Mr. Adams. Hear that growl? Whoa, buddy! Another wide one. Not getting tight to the front. You can hear a big lift there, Ryan, and then transition very awkwardly. Again, coming into that second to last front clip and barely brings it around, but want to look at this again here.
Yeah, definitely missed that inside clip 1 by a large margin. So initiation here, not too bad. Wasn't the quickest rate to angle, but got the car to angle, coming through this area to inside clip 1, and missed it, like I said, by a country mile. Got out to outside zone 1. The touch and go was near it pretty well. missed inside clip 1, and it sounded like he misshifted there, maybe missed a gear. The car luckily did a very minimal transition from one side to the other just because of the momentum of the car, and then he was able to get it in gear and keep going. But you could hear the car rev up like he was trying to get back on throttle, but there was nothing there. But again, just it happened in a very lucky position for him. But he did have a very big slowdown just before that inside clip 2, and that's not an area where you should be slowing down. That is not part of the decel area at all.
All right, Ricky Adams there with a 55, and unfortunately for him, that is not enough.
Yeah, he's currently tied for 8th with that.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, so Troy Manners, aka Squirt, is Neo Motorsports S chassis. All right, brings it around. What's going on here, Lantain? Another one. Like DJ Khaled over here, another one. Whoa, Manners, backwards entry, not the right kind, unfortunately for Mr. Manners. But he does have, as I said, a 79 on his first run.
You can see the run not going very well from him right off the beginning there. He got the car to angle, but unfortunately, it went very, very wide around where inside clip 1 is.
Okay, Adam, what do you got? Show me what you got. Get swifty, homeboy. Here we go, Adam Knappin. Looks really poised right now. I've seen a lot of those guys in that wide swing, but he brought it in tight, high and tight. Oh, quick little bobble there, man. He was on one. He was on a tear. Oh man, another little bobble. All right, Jeff Donati. Let's see how Donati throws it in. And well done quickly by Donati. Listen to that exhaust though, man. He is just absolutely floored right now. Into that outside zone. Donati really showing his driving talent here. Boom! Well done by Donati. Putting the pedal to the floorboards like Harrison Ford. You watched that, Chris D'Elia? Harrison Ford and the floorboards. Full score. All right, so Jeff Donati, I mean, did you hear that exhaust though? It was just absolutely ripping.
That was a highly committed run. You can see here that where other drivers are lifting and maybe trying to let the car float a little bit, he's not doing that. He's full throttle through the whole track, and he's proving that you can do so almost full throttle throughout the entire thing. He had his little lift on transition coming outside zone 2, but overall that was a very committed run. You can tell that it is, he's on that throttle. The amount of smoke that he has going on, might have had a slight lift right there, but overall just an aggressive run. Did a pretty good job of getting all the zones and clips as well. You can see outside zone 2, inside clip 3.
Jeff Donati with an 89, jumps him up to 3rd position, so well done by Donati. He likes to party. You had the richest blood. All right, here we go. Garrett Denton, CoroWorks S chassis. Into that outside zone. Wow, big angle there from Denton. Smoke machine out the back. Man, these guys are taking notes. Maybe, as you said, Ryan, earlier, getting a lot more confidence here on this very fast track as Denton brings it on home into the outside zone. Fills that up. So, man, Denton really just stepping up from his previous run. His first run had an 84, which is still a great run. Yeah,
he initiated at the right spot, got the car to angle really well. Like you said, he's holding a nice degree of angle through here. Really just kind of tiptoeing through that area to stay really tight on inside clip 1, wide and outside zone 1. Good job on the touch and go. A very precise run overall, good transitions, got himself thrown into outside zone 2 really aggressively. So from our perspective, watching the cars go out to that outside zone is sometimes it looks very risky, and that's when we know it's a high commitment score, and he did a really good job of doing that through there. A couple of areas his angle could have been improved. You know, it wasn't a perfect run, but it was a very high level run. I think he's going to get a really good score here for this.
All right, Garrett Denton with a 90. Excuse me, taking my breath away here. Garrett Denton with a 90 now slides him up to that number 3 position. Well done.
Top 16 right now, so the pressure's on for him.
The heat is on. It's on the streets. The heat is on. All right, Mesker. He's got another one of those wide lines there, Ryan. Does not bring it up. You see him, a quick little correction there from Mesker. Consistent through the power alley, but then a quick little lift there. Floats it into that outside zone. You see quick little attitude of the car, changing the attitude.
I love it when drivers do a very aggressive initiation like he did here, but you have to be precise with it. And unfortunately, when he threw the car to angle like that, it might have been a little bit late. It sent him really wide. Missed inside clip 1 by a long shot there. Did okay on outside zone 1. Pretty good on the touch and go, but then was off inside clip 2. And really had a correction there as well towards outside zone 2.
All right, David Mesker with a 61 on his second run. Unfortunately, that's not enough for him. Even on his first run of 67, that does not get him into top 16.
Well, you exchange somebody that doesn't know something with somebody that actually does.
No, shut up. All right, Dynasty, here we go into that G37. Very fluid. This thing slammed on the ground. Rolling pole. Nice job. Jonathan Hurst. Whoa, buddy. Look at that flick, that transition. I kind of got nervous for him. Man, he's really throwing down there, Lantain. And Sage, sorry, Ryan Sage. Ryan Sage, thank you for rejoining us.
Yeah, no, I caught Jonathan Hurst's run before I left. It looked like he was struggling on that first one. A definite improvement here on the second run, much more committed. You can see he still missed that inside clip just by one little hash mark, but certainly on the second inside clip, he did not have the mistake of going off course at the touch and go, and he was able to come back and lay down an under pressure run with a nice snappy transition back around. And I imagine, Ryan, that you'd probably agree that was an improvement on run number 1.
Yes, it was. He did a pretty good job. He only had that one little correction that I really noticed by outside zone 2. He got the car to angle really fast, but then had a little bobble, had to take a little bit of the angle out, and managed to get around that last corner, though, with that angle that he had thrown in. So,
as Kelsey Rawlings, she's warming up her tires, and yes, Hurst gets an 82. A strong score for him. You can't fool me twice. All right, here we go. Kelsey Rawlings. She unfortunately had a 0 on her first run. Let's see if she can throw it down in the Galaxy S14. She's got a Ford power plant under the hood. There we go. Now we're looking sweet. Well done by Kelsey. Gets an outside zone. Gets out to the rumble strips. And Kelsey Rawlings puts a good score on the board. This, I mean, haven't seen it yet, but that was a solid run.
Yeah, Kelsey needs a strong performance here in qualifying. She's had a tough run of events, and she right there came through under pressure in a massive way with that incomplete on run number 1. She comes back, looks good through that first inside clip, gets out to that outside zone, pretty decent on that touch and go, and then through that second inside clip, little bit of tiny waving there, but she was able to push the line out to the furthest part of the zone without going into the wall and finish up pretty strong there. And
84, boom, another 84. So Kelsey Rawlings currently sits in 6th.
And we do have a couple of ties that need to be broken, but she did her job there.
84, great year, great year. Here we go. Kenrick Meyer. Kenrick initiates. Really love this car there, Sage and Lantain. Oh, you saw him step out. Gets up the outside zone. Bounces back, explodes that, and punts the cone in the touch and go. And Kenrick to the outside zone and brings it around that final clip. Kenrick Meyer. I want to take a look at the replay here as when he comes past that first front clip, you see a quick little correction there going in the power alley.
Yeah, you can see a bit of a late initiation there. Lets it float out, then gets back on the throttle. We don't see smoke starting to drop until that first inside clip. He has a little bit of a turning of the wheels back to neutral for a split second. He almost has to reinitiate. You can see him struggling there on that second inside clip. Now it looks like it is going to be a clean full pass, but definitely a mistake leaving outside zone 1.
Kenrick Meyer with a 75. A 75 on his second run puts him into 12th position. Definitely better than his 69. Houman Rahimi. He overcooked it. He spun out on his first run. He's only Houman. And Houman Rahimi definitely got a power upgrade from this year's Hyperfest earlier this year at the U.S. Drift Round. Really dialing it in. Oh, buddy. Oh, and gets it. Holy cow. That's Quite a few spins for Human Rahimi. Let's make sure he's okay.
And he does take it pretty decently hard into the wall and hoping that he's going to be okay. You can see this time he improves his line, even though he is still a bit wide here. He's got pretty good throttle control coming through the center section. He's really gassing. Now watch when he gets to this inside clip. It's a weird approach. He kind of takes a tight line through the inside clip, and as he transitions back around, he's basically off course there, and then the rear catches the tire wall and spins him around. So Ryan, how do you see that from inside clip number 2?
It looked like he went long on the touch and go area, which caused him to have to reach in towards the inside clip. And by doing that, he ended up kind of wrapping around the clip as opposed to driving by it, and put him on the wrong line.
Yeah. All right, Kangaroo Robot, ready to throw down. Autobots, roll out. All right, here we go. That Holden Commodore U. Big old tall glass of water, Josh Robinson. Really dialed in on that front clip. Gets to the outside zone, into the touch and go. About the 1.5 hash mark. Now into the outside zone, just dips the tailgate and brings it tight around that final clip.
Well, pressure cooker here for Josh Robinson as well. He's got a 69. He's going to want to get up into at least the mid-70s here to give himself some comfort. Good initiation there. A little bit of a hiccup as he heads towards his first inside clip, but nice line being drawn there. Gets out to that outside zone, now moving across, makes a little bit of adjustment there to the touch and go, bit wide on inside clip 2. Snappy transition back around, trying to catch the angle and get as deep into that zone as he can. Maybe could a little bit deeper, but he's able to draw that final line to the inside clip.
And he does, an 81. A nice score there for Robinson. That's an 81. Show me what you got. Sebastian Gauthier. Leave the start line. Pop, lock, and drop it. Gauthier. Really well and settled in that angle. Car squatting down. Nice transition there, really snappy. Getting gangster with it into that outside zone. And then around that final clip, Sebastian Gauthier.
So Jared Gautier's got a 73, I believe, trying to better that. Let's see if he can do it. Watch the initiation here, just right at that last standing cone. Back on the throttle about halfway through. You see the smoke line starting to pick up, but he's going to pull a little bit wide on that first inside clip. Keeps good angle in the car through that outside zone. And gets to that touch and go in that right area. Very tight on that second inside clip, just nudging it a little bit. Gets into that last outside zone a bit early. And then you can see he's a tiny bit tight getting in onto the rumble strip there on that final inside clip. You can see just knocking that second inside clip out of it.
An 82. So all these drivers really stepping it up. An 82 there for Gauthier. All right, so next up, Brodie Goble. Brodie Goble clear to send. Send it, homeboy. Here we go. Goble. On the second qualifying run. He had a 91 on his first run. So this is just for, I got to say, bragging points, or going for that perfect score. Goble. Well done. Achilles tire smoke all across the track. Coming in hot into the outside zone. Flirting for certain, but then keeps it clean as he takes out that final front clip across the finish line. Well done and well executed, Brodie Goble. Ryan, what do you think? Is that better than 91?
Well, it's a really beautiful run with just a few very minor mistakes here. You can see that nice line that he draws to that first inside clip after initiating pretty well. He drops a tire there, but it shows that he's going deep into that zone. Doesn't totally get out to the touch and go, but look how fast and aggressive he's driving. Gets into this zone, fills it completely from line to line, and then just a tiny bit tight there. So maybe a few points on line.
And Brodie Goble with a 90, right? A 90 on his second run does not better his first run of a 91, but still. And here comes Robbins. Quickly gets to that angle, right to angle, very fast. Just barely nudging over that front clip. Great transition. Whoa, punts that front clip. It's kind of what he did on his first run as well. And brings around the final clip. So a couple clipping points being taken out. The first one just barely kind of knocked over, tipped over, and then the second one definitely got punted a lot more aggressively.
So here's a second attempt from Robbins here. Getting that initiation. You can see he's back on throttle a lot earlier than we've seen from other guys. Very tight through that first inside clip. You can see getting that edge of that left rear tire right out to the edge of the course. A little bit tight there, almost center punching it. And then fills that zone pretty well.
And Robbins with an 85. An 85. Another driver with a 74 on his first run. But now Crick needs to step it up. What do you got, Crick? All right, so brings it into that first front clip. Kind of maybe a little hesitant there on the first run. He really threw it all out there. See some wavering there from Crick now into that outside zone. Philippi brings it in. See a little bit off the line there. Almost gets into the dirt, but definitely saves it and brings it out.
Well, quite a few Pro 2 drivers opting for this latest initiation point of that last standing cone. You see Philippi kind of slow rolling it, not a lot of throttle control until he drives to that first inside clip rather. You can see kind of a moderate transition from outside zone 1 to the touch and go. And then right here, as you said, Jared, he brings a little bit of a line too tight and he has to make an adjustment. You can see there not a lot of angle until he gets it in that section of the course. But then he almost center punches that second inside clip. A little bit e-brake pull to get him the butt of the car into that outside zone, but just on a little bit of a tight line there. Then he has to make an adjustment to get around that final inside clip.
All right, well, he is currently flirting with potentially moving down and outside of the top 16 because he has 76, which puts him at 15th position. That will knock out Crick Philippi. All right, right now, Sexsmith, he has 79 on his first run, which, again, if you're in that 70s, the high 70s, you're sitting a little more comfortable. Got Sexsmith, that Enviado, 2JZ powered Toyota 86. Lontaine was talking about it earlier, just not really driving like the Sexsmith we've seen earlier this year and at other events. Seems like he's just a little hesitant.
Well, he gets a good start on initiation. He initiates right between the second and first standing cone, so he's feeling comfortable there. He goes a little bit long on that first inside clip, though the line he was drawing was pretty smooth. You can really hear the throttle working here as he comes into that second inside clip. I'm really surprised that he doesn't get out to that outside zone. He's definitely going to leave some points on the table there.
And an 83 there for Riley Sexsmith. Andy Haley was, again, one of two drivers remaining that does not have a score, has an incomplete run. So Andy Haley had some issues earlier. Let's see if we can work it out. And this beautiful E30. You can see him just massaging around that front clip. Now Haley into that final outer zone. Seems like he's really fighting the car here. You see how it's shimmying his way across the track. He does maintain the angle.
Well, I don't know if that's going to do it.
Yeah,
With that incomplete on run number 1, the pressure's really on. Watch this right here, Jared. He gets a lot of angle in the car. Now, he doesn't want to pull angle out, so he really gets on the throttle, but he realizes he's got to pull it out if he wants to make around that first inside clip. And it caused him to make a noticeable adjustment in the speed and overall flow of the vehicle. And then here, a bit short on that final outside zone. So we know the cutoff is right near that 74, I think, at this point, Jared. And then Ryan, if you can, take us through what's going on here with Haley, what you see from him on outside zone number 1.
Yeah, he's been having a couple of issues with the initiation. Every time he gets the car to angle as he's going through that first corner. So as you can see, his score right there is a 68.
And we are hearing that Ryan Littrell is out as well. So we have 3 more drivers: Yeager, Hughes, and Reeder. And that's a big blow to Ryan Littrell, who's a real contender here this year. So Ula Yeager, the Japan Auto Supra. Of course, Brad Dan is filming the Supra. As Ula Yeager driving a vehicle deemed Chucky. Frederick Osbo, the champion that he is. This is his former car.
Well, really, at this point for Jaeger, the positioning in the top 16 is important. He's got his 83, but he could really use a few extra points in the championship contention, given how close it is between 1 and 2. You can see he starts off pretty good, comes through that outside zone, nice fluid motion out to the outside, to the touch and go, just nicking that inside clip, but no harm, no foul there. Could have been a little bit deeper into that final outside zone, and you can see the line that he drew.
All right, Ryan, 2 more drivers left, and there's Ula Jaeger in 84, just betters it by 1 point. Dylan Hughes, who sits in that #1 spot with the 93. Here's his second qualifying run from the Dozer, D-Hugh. All right, Dylan, around that first front clip, really tight. His first run is a hard act to follow, so he's really got to step it up. Using all the course, punts that touch and go cone, now into the outer zone, flirts with the rumble strip, said, hey, how you doing? Then wraps it around that final front clip. Dylan Hughes, Ryan Sage, do you think that is better than a 93?
Well, it won't matter so much for him. It's really just about whether or not he can keep that positioning, but a strong first run from him, trying to back up that 93. Tight on that inside clip, coming through that outside touch and go, excuse me, the outside zone to the outside touch and go. Goes a little bit deep there and hits that touch and go cone, but it was right at the edge of the track, so I think the judge is going to let that slide. He had great angle through that second inside clip.
And Dylan Hughes gives an 89 on his second run, an 89. All right, so yeah, Reeder comes into the championship, and he will not hold that position if Dylan Hughes has a better qualified position, because only 1 point separates him. Travis Reeder into that first front clip. Now into the second to last, really tight. See, just nicking it, knocking it out of the way. Outer zone, and 1 more final clip for glory. So Travis Reeder in 86 on his first run. Ryan, does this better an 86? Also, does it contend with Dylan Hughes?
Well, it's going to have to contend with Dylan Hughes if he wants to retain his positioning as the leader, at least for the moment or for this weekend, because that would put Dylan Hughes unofficially as the leader in qualifying, but also the leader in the championship because of the allocation of the points.
A 92, so look at that, just dances with it. A 92 on his second run.